minutes.
Perfect.
All right. Boom. And we are back in it today with a fantastic show. Pirate Broadcast. Hi. And I want to invite you to be on the Pirate Broadcast or join the Pirate Broadcast. Follow the hashtag Pirate Broadcast. Follow us on, some other social media if you feel so inclined. I'm out there. You can search Google, the Googleator on the hashtag Pirate Broadcast and find me. And what we do here, if you haven't joined us before, and if you joined us, thank you. All the gratitude in the world if you're joining now. And also, we bring interesting people doing interesting things and talk about, what they're doing, how LinkedIn has influenced them, how they're influencing LinkedIn, and what is happening in their world. And today we have Zack Scriven. That's what happens when I'm on 5 hours of sleep. Okay.
Yeah, so, man.
Zack, how are you today?
I'm doing great, man. Woke up a little bit earlier for this. I'm in the office right now and, got my mic set up. Just love going live, doing podcast interviews and all the things like that. So thank you to anyone who's joining. And, thank you, Russ, for having me on.
Well, and we have met in the past before at LinkedIn Local. And I know that we've been following back and forth, and you have really doubled down on LinkedIn to an extreme degree in a lot of cases. It's like, and it takes a lot of time and effort. So I know that I know what kind of effort it takes. So hats off to you for making the investment there. So it's really, and hopefully today I'll be able to extract a few nuggets of knowledge on what after the fact, it's like, okay, what have you discovered along the journey? What has really worked for you? And what is really kind of your next step in the evolution of being in LinkedIn and what the platform is going to do, and what are you doing in life? Because I know you recently relocated to Arizona. So talk about that. The last year, what's the turning point that possessed you to move to Arizona?
Yeah, man. Well, like for anyone who doesn't know, like 2 years ago, I was a control system engineer, had that typical 9 to 5, and had always a passion and interest in video. And I kind of happened to stumble across LinkedIn native video.
Yeah.
And so I started posting videos there and really starting to get a lot of traction. And so I felt like there was something there. So I had this wild idea to essentially quit my stable income, job to do, entrepreneurship and, be a full-time LinkedIn video creator.
Yeah.
And that started a LinkedIn video journey that has brought us, to this live stream today where, I started posting videos daily. I had like a daily LinkedIn video series, and that, I had a podcast, and I went to LinkedIn locals around the United States, around the world, actually. Got clients from LinkedIn, helping them grow using video on LinkedIn. And, my income, it initially was cut in half, but I was much happier. Actually, Gary Vee just posted a video about this the other day, and it was like, if you're making 100,000 but you're not happy, like what should you do? Do you choose money, or do you choose to do something? Especially when I was young.
Yeah,
I'm still pretty young.
I was gonna say that's all relative. Zach.
I was like, might as well take this risk now, like take this chance now. My daughter was 1 at the time; she's 3 now. To pursue something that is like a better version of myself, and to kind of build and grow on this amazing platform, LinkedIn. And there was, without really knowing where it was going to take me, recently pivoted into real estate. And, that's been a blessing to have that large community of people there to support me, even if they're not themselves moving or buying or selling in Arizona. There are people that, have reached out, maybe referral opportunities. And so to put in all that work, it wasn't lost. Like I still have a corporate video client. I still do videos for myself because that's what I enjoy doing. But that's really like, that's my journey in a nutshell.
Well, I suspect that I suspect that the video chops that you acquired along the journey on LinkedIn will pay dividends in the real estate market, because real estate is so visual, and you can do virtual. You could do the 360 videos where you're doing around homes, and you could help people that are, maybe, the snowbirds that are looking at property that haven't made it down yet. They want to investigate a few properties in advance. So that's a play that you could use video very effectively at. And I think it's really one of those emerging talents that you could actually leverage and transfer into the real estate market as well. So
yeah, absolutely. That's one of the, in addition to being a great source of wealth creation through passive income and building a real estate portfolio, the video side of it, like you said, is another thing that really attracted me to real estate, was being able to leverage my skill sets with video. I have a small team now in the Philippines, Mac and Christopher, and they're great, man. They really help me. They've taken my video editing to the next level, and whether it's helping my clients doing listing videos, they're on top of it. So now I can kind of focus more on the lead generation and networking, doing things like this. So
yeah. And just for those out there that are unfamiliar with Zack and his journey, it's really an opportunity to utilize video. I don't think I see a lot of people using video just because I notice a lot of people using video, right? I'm in the video field, and like yourself, I'm doing a broadcast every single day.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I take that and I convert it into a transcription, a blog post, and a podcast, and it's on, all of the podcasting community, many of the sites that are out there. And so continuing to add more and more all the time. So Zack, what is the, going from a full-time engineering position to jumping off the cliff into an entrepreneurial world and having a family? You have to have some feedback from your spouse and say, okay, dear, we're in it for the long haul. Or what was that conversation like?
So before I pulled the trigger and quit, I had talked to Mary, and she's the mother of our daughter, and we're engaged, and she's a flight attendant, so she travels a lot for work. And so actually being able to be home with my daughter Zoe was one of the the plus sides, being able to work from home or be able to control my schedule a little bit more.
Right.
So that was definitely one of the things that drew me towards that career, but also the fact that I still had the opportunity to do some freelancing, doing industrial automation programming.
Okay.
I got on a platform, I'm sure you've heard of it, Upwork.
Yep.
And I kind of, it typically thought of for like video editing or social media management, websites, but more and more, maybe influenced a little bit by me, but also, kind of putting the word out there for people that are doing PLC programming or SCADA systems that, hey, look at Upwork too. I'm on there. And then that kind of drew, more buyers and more suppliers on that platform. And that, that represented about 50% of my income, in addition to the video content and sponsorships. And so it was largely subsidized. It was a transitionary period, but going from W-2 to completely independent contractor, freelancer, being able to leverage my existing skill set was absolutely, necessary. And so that gave her the confidence that, okay, it's not like we're just going to go straight to rock bottom, right? But
it's not like jumping out of an airplane. You do have a parachute, right?
Yeah.
Jumping out of the airplane is not the only option. It's like there's some other comforts there. So,
but surprisingly, I didn't have any like video clients before I quit, but people, I had been going like really hard on LinkedIn for like 2 or 3 months before I did quit. And people were already starting to kind of take notice, and they kind of almost sensed that something was happening. And I couldn't tell what it was, but I just knew like this is something I want to be doing.
Yeah.
And the day I quit, like I got reached out to. I made a video that kind of went. Back then, it was pretty viral. Today 5,000 views is, but it's still pretty good actually. But
Uh-huh.
I got reached out to. They're like, hey, why don't you do for us what you've been doing for yourself, and so it's just a natural evolution.
Exactly. And I noticed that the more you put yourself out there, the more conversations you have. And as a result of those conversations, you actually have some people reaching out to you and saying, hey, I want to figure out what you're doing, and I like what you're doing, and let's do some work together. And because all of my clients right now are, based on relationships that I've already had pre-existing or developed over the years with, LinkedIn and, friends of friends and things like that. So it's always a good idea when you're on LinkedIn or any platform to develop a relationship with people and actually, try to go deeper and try to get them into a conversation that's not necessarily just a chat session or DM session. And like you were saying before the show started, now that you're in real estate and you're doing a lot of experimenting with your business now in Phoenix, there's a lot of opportunity there, and meeting new people is going to be key. And, maybe doing some meetups and some opportunities there. So in fact, I just received something yesterday I'll have to share with you after the show. So it's an effort for training on technology around the idea of helping veterans. So,
oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm working with a friend here in Houston. He's I put a couple of posts out for him and shared it with my network. As what he's doing is taking technology people out of he's helping veterans transition back into the civilian life and training them on technology to actually be positioned to work in companies and utilize their talents in other ways. So,
oh wow, it sounds familiar. I think I might. It sounds like someone I've been talking to, who also does a LinkedIn Live, but maybe that's someone else. But
yeah, he's not on LinkedIn much.
However, that's their first mistake right there.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said, you should start a pirate broadcast. It's like, I can help you with that. Because one of the things that I'm doing, Zach, is I'm taking all of the systems. You mentioned you have VAs in the Philippines. I have VAs as well. And so I've got it down to systems to where I show up, I do the show, and pretty much everything else is managed for me.
That's awesome.
And I've been able to develop systems that I can scale this. So if you're a speaker, author, coach, or somebody that is concerned about your time and your investment, and you still want to get on video and you want to do live, or you want to do something like that. And I think that's, just like you've done, you utilized and leveraged video to your advantage, and it's really powerful tool. It's an incredibly powerful. It's the best way to start conversations as far as I can tell. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like you can reach so many more people. Like right now, I'm like, hi, Sherry, Gabriel, hey, Silvio, Vicky, Maureen. I mean, Arcot. Like, there's so many people. Jessica, all in the live chat. What's up, guys? Thank you guys for joining.
Yeah, and and the funny thing about it is the conversations are much deeper. They're really great conversations. Sherry, I hope you're feeling better. Have Dayquil. Oh man, she's been under the weather, so she hasn't been feeling that great. But and Vicky O'Neill, thank you so much for introductions the other day. I appreciate the fact that you're sharing those introductions with others.
Well, that's great.
And so, Zach, I want to kind of shift gears here a little bit and talk about some of the techniques that you've developed for your daily show, and what you discovered along the way that you could share with others that are just getting started. Maybe some tips that took you a while to learn, and then once you learned it, it was like, can't believe I didn't think about that earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a few. So why don't you share a few things with us like that?
Okay. Yeah, I'd say It's funny you mentioned the Daily Show, because I only went about maybe a couple of months doing it consistently daily, maybe
Uh-huh.
missing a day or two here or there. But
Uh-huh.
I mean, going daily is a really daunting commitment, and I see far too many people come on to LinkedIn doing a daily this or daily that, and then they burn out, and then you don't see them for like 2 or 3 months, and then it's like, well, that person would have been much better posting, you know, maybe not a daily video, but like try to post something every day, or at least and get on the platform every day, but maybe do a video once a week,
Yeah.
but do that for 3 years or in perpetuity, ideally. That's a much easier commitment. So like right now, I don't know if you guys see over there, the sevenfigurelisting.com. That's my new kind of weekly series where I
Uh-huh.
show off a new $1 million home here in the Phoenix area. It's hosted by me, and I just, I call up different agents, see what's on the market, see what I like and what my audience might like. And even if you're not necessarily in that market for buying that home, I'm not personally right now, but I just enjoy showing off the product and
Yeah.
entertaining. Like I feel like I'm kind of an entertainer at heart, and that's what I love about video, is if I can evoke an emotion, whether that's happiness or excitement, or maybe it's like when I did the video in Skid Row in Los Angeles, like,
Mhm.
I brought my mom to tears when I showed her that video.
Yeah.
That's what I love about being a video creator, is
Mhm.
the ability to evoke a strong emotion in someone.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and the same with homes, some of these homes are amazing. They're just incredible homes. And talking like you were doing the other day with the builder, I think it was the builder you were talking to,
yeah,
and the contractor, and you're walking through the home, talking about some of the appliances and some of the countertops and all
yeah,
of the furnishings. It was, it's a when you have the storytelling background, I think it gives it a little more depth in what you're sharing. It's really amazing. So, and I think you're spot on with the idea of, less is more. If you can show up, be consistent. If you can show up consistently over time,
yeah.
you have to do that. And
I mean, if you want to, if like it's in your heart to do daily, I mean, some
Mhm.
of the best, I know your show's daily.
Mhm.
Um, some of the best creators online, like Casey Neistat, went daily for like over 600 days. So, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying really think about it.
Yeah.
Goldie Chan was one of my inspirations for going daily,
Uh-huh.
daily Goldie. And,
Uh-huh.
um, I think it was good for me in the sense that it got so many repetitions.
Yeah.
I think people, they put too much emphasis on any one video, and it's really, that video is kind of insignificant in the long run. It's each video is a stepping stone to get to the next video, to get those additional skills, to get more confident on camera, to maybe add one new person to your network, um, and then just keep going forward. Don't overthink it.
Well, and also it creates a body of work that you can continue to share out. And that's the beauty of it. If you can actually position it as evergreen to some degree, you can actually repurpose this video, repurpose it, take it in, cut it into, it's like the waterfall method. I was watching a recent YouTube video from Ruben Dow, who's going to be on the show next month, is the founder of Dub, and it's a platform that I love using. And Ruben was talking about the waterfall method, and Gary Vaynerchuk talked about this. I developed this. I used to coach my clients on what I call a traffic circle, where you start with a large piece of content and then you break it down into smaller pieces of content, and then you repurpose that content into different platforms that go back to your intent and your call to action. So it's a strategy that I've taught over the years, and a lot of people have done the same thing. And like you're saying, if the single video can actually be repurposed, 2 months later, 3 months later, or whatever, sometime in the future, the ideas are still intact. It doesn't really matter when it was published if you can republish it and reshare it and put that idea back out into the world. Because
Yeah.
I think it's important for growth and stability. And like you said, burnout. I've created this because it's I do take the weekends off.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And well, I was doing the 2-minute tips in 10 minutes or less. And I did that for, I think, over almost 200 days consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had some life events that kind of derailed that. And I'm still getting questions. It's like, when are you going to do your 2-minute tips again? And I'm thinking about doing it in Instagram stories and then publishing it over there as a thing. So we'll see how that rolls.
You bring up a good point about kind of like the Pareto principle, or like the 80-20 rule.
Yep.
That you could spend, I've spent hours editing videos. In some of those videos, it's well worth it. Like about a year ago, I did top 10 LinkedIn influencers. And that took me about almost all day to edit and film and everything. But it went super viral. Like at the time, it was my most viewed video at 25,000 views. And all of those people, like Sam Lister and Sarah Gross and like all the top 10 influencers, they were like messaging me. They're like, I got like 200, 300 connection requests today. Yeah. They're like, dude, they're like, you're the influencer. Like, I'm like, hey man, I'm just, if you make it not about you, like if you put the spotlight on your customers or your audience or others, then it could flow back to you, and I think that is a timeless piece of advice right there, like servant leadership.
Yes. Think, what is the value I can add to the community? And that's the beauty of what I'm doing here, in my opinion, anyway. Yeah. It's like I have a body of knowledge that I've acquired over time. However, every guest that I bring on drops some piece of information that I think is valuable. And even though, I'm not Casey Neistat or anything close to that, it's like, it's like Gary Vaynerchuk, he did Wine Library for years before anybody noticed. So it's like, you just show up every single day and do the work. And Vicky, I was laughing at Vicky because she goes, she did the 30-day challenge. She goes, she would not recommend it. So I'm curious, Vicky, what was the biggest challenge for that? I would love to know that. So Nick Dorsey, agree with your input about videos. And also, the reason why I do live, Zach, the reason why I do live, don't you?
Because it's posted right away. And so the time to market is like instant.
And I don't really like to edit.
Yeah.
I do edit, but it's not my favorite thing to do.
So editing is good in the sense that you can make like those first 10 seconds really engaging. Mm-hmm. Like I did this one video when I went to Australia, and it was kind of like a visual storytelling of me, actually the journey of getting there. And I spent like an hour just editing like the first 20 seconds, but the way it was so fastly edited, and it told a story. Like you could see me leaving the house, going to LAX, like getting on the plane, landing in Australia, and like it brought people with me.
It was total Casey Neistat editing.
Yeah. And that one went like 10,000 views. And so like that was worth it to me. But then also I can't do that. Like I can't do that every day, like those are hard to do. So it's a balance of like, finding some really good quality pieces of work, but also doing something that you can keep up with on a consistent daily basis. Like going live is a great way to get out there, not overthink it, and also just develop that on-camera presence.
Yeah. And here's the trend behind this story that we're talking about today. And the takeaway that I'm hearing, and maybe you can agree or disagree or add to it, is you have to love the process. You have to love the journey and love what you're doing at the moment, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time and effort. Digital online technology is here to stay. Back in the day when companies used to say, I don't need a website, I don't know how to do business, then that went away. Now companies are saying, well, I don't really need to be online. My customers aren't online. It's like, well, yes, your customers are online, and they're people too. They're just people. So if you can control and manage your brand, your message, your audience, and your community to the degree that you have control over it, and then you have to put in the effort. I mean, it's not an if, it's when and how. And so loving what you do with the video or the social media or the interaction with your community, I think it's important for you to really enjoy and appreciate that. This is, for me, I find joy in doing this show every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I enjoy doing this.
We're having a conversation, man. It's fun. We're connecting. This is the best part.
It's like, why not have a Zoom session for the rest of the world? You know, it's the same thing. It's like we're having a conversation. People can listen in, right?
Lori says she prefers live, but she says that she'd probably be way down the list to get live. Lori, I would apply, and if you don't get it, I'd apply again because, I wouldn't, I wouldn't doubt yourself. Just put it out there, and you'll see. It took me a few times to get it, and
and then also when you apply and they say, hey, you're on the, we'll review your thing, and then respond again and say, hey, well, I've been doing this and this and this. I've been creating for this amount of time, and give them some backstory, and then just keep knocking on the door. Yeah. It's like, hello, McFly.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like about my journey is that I'm using myself as like a case study to like help inspire other people, like me taking that leap into, video creation and now like me starting a new venture with the real estate, being able to document and share, how I'm able to overcome. Like for me, like I was always afraid of sales, and now I'm going into a field that is basically it's sales, and so I'm having to challenge myself so I can grow in areas that I know I need to and be able to hopefully share that with someone. But I'm curious, Russ, like based on what you've seen from me, like, do you have any advice?
Yeah,
and that's a hard question or something.
Well, no. I think now that you're dialed in real estate, I love the Phoenix networking environment. The fact that you're here and new, I would start reaching out to a lot of influencers. When I get back, let's sit down. We can look at my network and see who else is out there, because there's a lot of people that I could probably connect you with. And then, it's just building relationships with them. And there's a couple of things that I really love. Look at Dub. I'll send you a link. I think I've probably sent you a link in the past.
Okay.
Because that is by far my number one connection tool.
Dub, you said?
Dub.com. Yes.
Okay.
And it's a video tool, so you fit right into the mix, right?
Oh, nice.
And then I would parallel mortgage brokers and insurance people that are in transition, because obviously, there's people out there that are moving and doing, and there's a lot of, in your market, there's a lot of transitional housing. And and I would look at empty nesters or snowbirds that have a second or third home, and possibly look at that market there and see what. And then also there's real estate networking groups, and then I would create a mastermind. I would get together with some of the top influencers in the Phoenix market and start up a mastermind, and just so you can keep a pulse on the market. So
awesome.
Yeah. Those are just some of the general tips that are good for anyone, anywhere. It's like,
yeah, it's funny you mentioned mastermind, because next month there's a knowledge broker. I don't know if you follow Dean Grazios and Tony Robbins.
Dean Graziosa and
they have a mastermind program, and they have this product called the Knowledge Business Blueprint. And so they're having their Knowledge Business Blueprint 2.0 launch in February. I've signed up as an affiliate to kind of help promote it, but I'm also going to be taking and purchasing the course with my own money. But basically learning how I could package up the kind of the information and the way I want to, the product I want to create is like my video knowledge and how I've set up my outsourcing system and with my VAs, and be able to help give that to like a business or an entrepreneur, rather than me being an agency and doing that for them. Give them the tools that they need packaged in like a mastermind or a course. But Yeah, that's another thing I'm doing is the knowledge bit, the KBB 2.0. So you'll be seeing that in my LinkedIn feeds coming up here pretty soon. So
yeah, and they did a great job on the first round, and they got a lot of traffic on that. Man, I just can't believe some of the things that picked up traction. And there's so many of these things. And you know, when I get back in town, let's get together and connect and sit down, have a bite or
awesome, man. Yeah,
beverages or whatever.
Your trip. Have a safe time, and thanks so much for having me on. I know we gotta probably go soon here.
Oh yeah. And so one last thing, if you had to share something with the world today, what would it be?
In light of recent events, I guess just live every day like it's your last, because it very well could be. And death is inevitable, but you can't have life without death, and can't have light without dark. And so I would just say, treasure your loved ones and, follow your passion.
Yeah. Good words. Great advice. I love it. Well, Zack, appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time and joining us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining the Pirate Broadcast that have joined in. And I love the fact that we can get back. Maybe you can go back in the comments and make some comments, Zack, and share this out as well afterwards. The fact. And then later in the day, what I'll do is I'll shoot you some information, and we can have this on the podcast, and the Pirate Broadcast. So, kindness is cool, smiles are free, and you enjoy the day. Have a good one, Zack.
We'll see you, Russ.